Y2K, at the time of recording this, is A24's latest entry. And of course, I say at the time of recording this because it feels like at this point they are popping them out every single day. I'm not complaining, but it is the latest addition that I have seen from the indie juggernaut. Y2K stands as the directorial debut of one Mr. Kyle Mooney. Formerly a 9-season member of Saturday Night Live, Mooney also wrote and starred in Brigsby Bear, which I love. It is a great coming-of-age movie. What I also learned while doing this video is that he is apparently a former YouTuber. Yeah, he would do street interviews on YouTube like 15 years ago. And in his directorial debut, Mooney managed to make what I think is one of the more wacky things that I have seen in a long time, and that's great. If you have seen the trailers for this movie, yes, it is as wacky and insane as you think it is going to be. On top of directing this thing, Mooney also wrote and acted in this movie. His name is featured in the cast alongside names like Fred Durst and the Kid Laroi. I told you it's insane. Now, those two names that I mentioned before are not the stars of this movie. The stars of this movie are our two main characters, of course, Eli, played by Jaden Martell, and Laura, who is played by Rachel Zegler. Eli and Laura are two high school juniors who are on completely opposite sides of the social game. Laura is the most popular girl in school, and Eli is not popular at all. In fact, he only has one friend whose name is Danny, played by Julian Dennison, who I believe is the best character in this movie. Eli and Laura are acquainted, but that is not good enough for Eli, of course. Eli, he really likes Laura, and he wants to be more than someone that just speaks to her through online messages and Spanish class. What better time to do that than New Year's Eve 1999? Shortly after Mr. Bill Clinton confirmed there will be no problems with your technological devices at the turn of the millennium. Or should I say the turn of the millennium if we're not being nerds. Now, of course, the Bill Clinton speech that I am referring to did not take place on New Year's Eve, rather November 10th of 1999, where in that speech he spoke about America's readiness for the year 2000. If you didn't know, the need for this speech was to ease fear not really just amongst Americans, but people worldwide who believed that at midnight on January 1st, 2000, their computers were going to be donezo. And it was a real fear that computer systems worldwide would interpret the year 2000 as 1900, causing the systems to just completely malfunction. But after a large-scale effort to identify and I guess completely change computer databases, I don't know, not a tech guy nor a 90s kid here, this problem was able to be solved. Now you heard what I just said, what I just explained. What you see in this movie, it was never a fear. Surely it will never be a fear that technology will morph together or whatnot and destroy all of humanity. All right, back to the movie. So I'll start off the review portion of this by saying I think this movie is good. I liked it. I had a phenomenal time watching it. To add on to that, you won't see me acting negatively towards movies on here. There's just no need to bring bad vibes and disrespect people's hard work. Yes, this movie is a whole lot of fun if you are able to tolerate a ton of 90s references, as well as Fred Durst having a literal Avengers Assemble moment, which at a certain point, maybe it does feel like all of the references take away from a little bit of storytelling, but it's all in good faith. This movie never feels like it's trying to be something that it isn't. There are a handful of emotional beats throughout the movie. Some of them land, some of them don't, but they never feel out of place. And in this movie, it seemed like a lot of them were coming off of absolutely hectic moments, so it doesn't particularly give you a second to settle into them. If there's one thing that I wish I had a little more of while watching this movie was the insanity. You might be saying, didn't you already say this movie was insane as is? Yes, I did. I just would have loved if there was a little more insanity sprinkled in through the moments in the middle and toward the end as well. It very much feels like this movie goes from 0% insanity to 90% insanity in the blink of an eye. Then that last 10% is left to go up to 100 throughout the rest of the movie. However, maybe just a little more violence, as mentally insane as that sounds, would have been the cherry on top for this movie. Maybe 5 of that 10% that I mentioned as well comes from Fred Durst. Yes, this is like the second time that I have mentioned Fred Durst, but this is his second A24 produced movie this year. He was also in the absolutely phenomenal I Saw the TV Glow, which I Saw the TV Glow does not include Fred Durst playing himself, as well as having the most obvious Limp Bizkit needle drop of all time. But back on track, yes, a little more balance in the wacky department would have been cool. But at the same time, I really cannot stress to you that did not impact my viewing experience really at all. I think the surviving group that we are left to follow is just so absolutely funky that it works in every way. I also have to add on, from what I have seen of Kyle Mooney, he literally plays himself in this movie. I think the best performance in this movie by far comes from Rachel Zegler, which really is not a surprise at all. I have never been on the Rachel Zegler hate train, and I never will be. She is super talented. On the technical side of things, nothing groundbreaking in this movie, but that is not a problem because, like I said, this movie is never trying to be something that it is not. There's no real deep message that you have to go searching in your soul to find. Also, something that Kyle Mooney provides us in Brigsby Bear, which is just awesome. I watched that movie for the first time this year, and it really is one of the more human things that I have seen this year. I guess if you had a message to take away from this one, it's that technology is absolutely crazy. And I'm excited to hopefully see Kyle Mooney stick around for a long time giving us stories like these, as well as hopefully returning to YouTube Street interviewing. Kyle, if you're watching this, please do it. If I had to give this movie a rating out of 5 stars, I would give it 3.5, making it a very good movie and a hell yeah to Kyle Mooney and everyone involved. If for some reason you want to check out my first video, please go right ahead. It is a review of my favorite horror movie of the year, Longlegs. And please subscribe and stay tuned because there are many more positive movie reviews as well as film-related content coming to the channel.